Hi guys, welcome to Atlantic Renewables. We are doing a podcast today talking about Sigenergy and Tesla. I'm Jack Atherton, a design engineer and associate director at Atlantic Renewables. I'll hand over to the other guys to introduce themselves.
I'm Dean, company director, company founder.
I'm Billy Wright. I'm the associate director as well, and also in the engineering team with Jack.
So we're going to have a free-form discussion about both Sigenergy and Tesla, our experiences of the kit, and hopefully it will be educative for you guys just to listen to our side of it from an installer's point of view. So, Dean, do you want to take us away? Do you got a preference on Tesla or Sigenergy you want to start on?
I mean, Sigenergy is relatively new to the market, but we just seem to be installing Sig a hell of a lot more than Tesla at the moment. Our company, our installers, us guys like fitting Sig would be the feedback we're getting from them on site. Is
that down to install practicality? Is that cost?
Yeah, well,
cost for the installer, but in terms of
the cost for the installer is probably the time. Like, both are good to commission. So we're looking at for commissioning a Sig. Conrad this morning was saying it takes him 5 minutes to commission Sig, which is rapid considering the length of time for some other products on the market. Tesla is quite quick comparative to other manufacturers, but you can be there for about an hour and a half commissioning it. So on that basis there is a differential between the two. It's great.
On that point as well, with Tesla we have less access to like monitor the system after install, like post-install care from our point of view. We have to basically go begging to Tesla to fix certain settings or whatever, whereas Sig, I believe, is far more open for our input, really. Would be one of the observations I've made so far.
The monitoring post-install.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's probably going to feel like we're singing Sig's praises and doing Tesla down a little bit here. But without further ado, there are some key features with the Sig. One being the stackability. So
Watch one modular. Yeah, with Sig.
Yeah, you can add them at a later date. My feeling is, though, like, typically customers do it once and do it right. We do have probably 1 in 10 customers who'll come back and say, "Can we add to it?"
After about a year.
Yeah.
The options are far better for Sig, though. You get the 6 and the 9 kilowatt hour battery options, both the same size. So you can make an assessment once you've got that data, the real world data from your solar array. If you've had one installed, you can see, actually I can validate 6, but I can't really validate 9. Whereas with the Tesla options, they look great, they look fantastic, but you're limited to 13.5 kilowatt hours every time. You might not need a second battery exactly. 27 is a lot for a domestic house, really.
With Sigenergy, it's isolating your consumption more, like your daily average, and even if you change that in the future. So if you get your solar with a system inverter, whatever it may be, and a battery size, say 9 kilowatt hours, for example, if you get a heat pump in the future, or you get an extension, or children, you can change it a lot easier. Whereas you can maybe add another 6 kilowatt hour, or another 9, or isolate what you need quickly, rather than that massive jump with Tesla.
But to absolutely throw a spanner in the works with that, like, we have seen products do change where,
quickly.
We haven't had that with Sig yet because it's only been on the market for...
They say that they started on 5 and 8 kilowatt hour battery iterations, so we've already, but they work. They've still got that backwards compatibility so far, which you'd hope companies don't do an iPhone and make it incompatible with the last gen, but you never know.
Which is what Tesla Powerwall 2 and 3 have done. They brought out the Powerwall 3 and it's not backwardly compatible with the 2.
No.
So that kit's redundant.
Yeah.
It'll still work and generate energy, but it's...
Yeah. Well, we saw the Tesla, the Powerwall 2, that was AC coupled, wasn't it? That was around since 2021, 2022. We fitted a lot of them, and then it was November 2024, this Powerwall 3 came on into the market, and it was DC coupled, so it was like a massive shift. You didn't need that external Solace inverter or the solar only inverter, which was massive. And they were last year, I think we saw 20 or 30 Teslas. Like, they're really, really popular, especially in the summer. We're installing loads of them. Sig, quite newer to the market as in general. I think they're in Australia and America before the UK.
Well, they're a Chinese manufactured.
They're
a Chinese company, aren't they? They don't shy away from that. But on the point of modularity, Jack, we recently fitted on your new home the inverter.
I personally think it looks better, And I mean, I went for a re-roof at the same time, so obviously my battery money went into a re-roof. But I will be planning on getting at least a 9 kilowatt down the line. I've got the space for it. It's set up so that we know they've got expansion. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to that functionality as well. But again, we're halfway through the install at the moment, so when that switch on, I'll be able to talk more about kind of. I'll jump into the app. I'll play with all the features a bit more, be that kind of tech guy. But yeah, I mean, one of the other things that the Sig system provides that maybe the Tesla doesn't at the moment, they've got that DC integrated charger unit, which is exactly the same kind of module as the battery. So it looks like that approximately, and then its cable bits built into its cable trunking, which is built into the whole system as well. So it looks really clean when it's done. But again, I can't think of very many installs that we've done where the charge point is where the battery is, you know.
As in next
yeah, as in like, again, and if you want to run the cable outside, you know, we can install an EV charge point externally, as take a Hypervolt or a Zappi or whatever, install that unit outside and run it back in, whereas building it into the battery stack, whilst it looks cool, you kind of have to hope you've got a big enough garage that you can keep the cable inside, or a garage door that's happy with not being closed fully.
Well, yours, if you did route that cable, and I don't really know that because we've not done this specific instance, but I'm going to explain. But if you put the charge point kit outside and the cable is, you know, we can get that to, let's say in your house, into where the inverter and battery is, because your inverter and battery is, you walk in your garage door, it's on your left. Well, your inverter is anyway. So if you were to add this in, I think it's physically possible to do it so it is mounted outside and you don't have to leave your door open. But like you said, not everyone has that privilege, and it's expensive. You know, you could spend double the amount to have, I think, a bit of a gimmick. Like, how people get this range anxiety with their EV cars, but how many people need to fill a car instantly? And if you did, 25 kilowatt doesn't quite scratch the surface, and you're then limited by what you actually have in your battery. So if you've only got a 9 kilowatt hour battery, you can fill it up at 25 kilowatt peak, but you're only still going to put 9 kilowatt hours in the car.
Some of that goes down to the fact that DC charging is inherently a little bit faster than AC charging, just because it's the nature of the electricity pushing into the battery. But again, like say, trickle feeding from the sun is going to be one of the main factors, and that's not going to be quick, is it?
Which you can do with other products like the Hypervolt and My Energy, much cheaper price.
The majority of customers I speak to, if you compare when they're looking at Sigenergy and then the Hypervolts and the Zappies, their charging habits with the vehicle, so they might charge it 2 nights a week, 3 nights a week on that overnight tariff. The 7 kilowatt single phase inverter EV charger suits them. So they don't need that 25. There's no point paying for that.
In that window, like I've got an 11 till 7 a.m. with Eon Next, and you know, like we've only got a little Skoda 65 kilowatt hour battery from approximately, and it's fully charged. We never really need to rush to somewhere to charge it. We are going down the road of EV charge point specifically here, but I suppose on the Sig point, it's good. It's nice to have it. I would feel a bit of a gimmick, and you know, most of our customers are kind of like of a certain age, have a certain budget, and they want good quality kit. That's why they come to us. So I won't be surprised if we do fit it. We haven't yet, but
the Tesla charger, by comparison, is less sophisticated, because in the Teslas, I believe all the intelligence is done either by the car rather than the Tesla battery itself, and so going for third-party options and considering things like vehicle to grid or vehicle to X, you know, the functionality at the moment, from the list on the Sigenergy site I looked at this morning, there's only 2 cars in the UK that are approved for vehicle to V2X, and Hyundai Ioniq 5 and another one I didn't recognise, but you know, that functioning could be expanded on as more people get onto it, whereas the Tesla, you feel a bit more locked into just having a Tesla car. Comparison will get those functionalities, but that would be my observation on the EV charge points in these systems. But
conversation a lot. You look at your vehicle, if you're looking at the Sigenergy, because there's so many on the market and only approved with, as you say, limited
and
vehicles.
We were having that problem with export limits on the Tesla Powerwall 3, creating problems for the Tesla EV charger, which I believe you have an export limit, you can't do the same kind of controls over the Tesla connection point.
It's not the case.
Yeah, exactly. Just segregated system and everything.
And the Hypervolt looks nice.
I think. Well, at risk of going down the EV charger conversation is probably a podcast for another day, but it is interesting stuff. But I think some of the key features with the two. I mean, one explanation, Connor, one of the members of our team, said to me, he was like, he feels like it's the iPhone versus the Android. So the Tesla being the iPhone, insofar as kind of you're happy with how it works and you go along their product range, it's great.
It's a bigger company as well, like worldwide.
Yeah.
Things,
you only have to go online and look at the stock price of Tesla, and it's got different areas to the company. But yeah, I think where Sig comes into its own is the ability for it. Yes, it's scalable, but you can integrate third-party equipment into it, whereas with the Tesla you just can't. Like, it'll invalidate the warranty if you were to install like Tigo power optimizers, whereas the Sig's really lent into it, and you can fit Tigos. You can also, with the Tigo Cloud Connect, you can essentially turn the Sig system into a system like the Solar Edge, where it's got online monitoring of each individual, it's not the solar panel but the solar panel, and that plugs into the Sig app, so you're looking at it on the Sig app, whereas traditionally if you wanted to do that you'd have to have, with a Solis inverter or any other manufacturer of inverter, you'd have the sort of Tigo Cloud Connect to monitor that on one platform, and then you'd have the inverter monitoring platform, so you've got everything under one roof, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
It's funny you say that, because there was that customer last week that's gone ahead now with Sigenergy in the end, but they were massively weighing up Sigenergy Tesla, like a lot of our customers do, and that was the swinging factor, because he had those two chimneys and a bit of a shading problem at certain times of the day. They wanted that protection. If you had Tesla, I mean, the storage that he was looking for was about sort of 12 to 15, so it was, you can do that with both. 13.5 or 12 to 15.
I mean, if you think what the Tesla might argue here, the Tesla might argue that they've got 3 MPPTs, so you would just, instead of optimizing out, you would just put different panels and use all 3 MPPTs, multiple PowerPoint trackers, and try and design out the problem that way. But actually, once you get above 6 kilowatt on the Sigenergy energy controller, they have 3 MPPTs as well, and I think you get up to the 12, you've got 4. So it's almost a null and void argument, depending on what system size we're looking for.
Yeah, when you are comparing like for like, so you're going for about 13 kilowatts with the Tesla to Sig, let's say it's a 12 kilowatt or a similar trade-off in terms of kilowatt hour storage, you are going to be using more than likely the 8 kilowatt at least inverter. But yeah, well, we're on that topic, I suppose it's quite useful to note the difference between the actual power and the apparent power of them both. So the Tesla, what does that do?
So Tesla can have up to 20 kilowatt peak solar panels going into the inverter DC, outputting 11.04 kilowatt peak from the inverter. The battery that it's connected to is 5 kilowatt continuous charge discharge, which so obviously you've got that 11 kilowatt capacity from the inverter, but you can only meet 5 by the battery. Then you're going to have, hopefully you've got, with a system that size, hopefully you're maxing out, getting a load of panels into it. 6 kilowatts would be added to the 5 kilowatt to meet on-site demand. In reality, how often I don't think I would ever use even 5 kilowatts maybe on I could probably open my Octopus app and tell you what my peak is over the last year, but
very high,
but 5 kilowatt could match most demand. You were talking electric ovens, I guess if you're running your EV charge point through your battery, you probably shouldn't be doing that anyway, but then yes, that's 7 kilowatt minimum, but you'd have to be using a serious amount of different domestic tech to sort of hit those numbers. The kettle, the electric oven,
TVs,
aircon, air source heat pump, before you start getting to numbers where that's really concerned. By comparison, the Sig, again, it depends on the battery you've got. So if you've got a 6, it's 3.6 kilowatts discharge from the battery and charge. And if it's 9, then I think it's 4.6, 4.8. So
basically half, isn't it?
It's on here. Let's have a look. Let's get the facts out. So for the battery, here's another point. They call it a 10. The battery capacity is actually 9.4, and the usable energy capacity is 8.76. So it's a bit cheeky for them. The 6 is actually 6, and usable energy capacity of 5.8. So they've pushed the boundary a little bit less for the 6. But yeah, max discharge power from the 10 is 4.6 kilowatts as opposed to 3 kilowatts from the 6. So my number's a little bit off there, but the point still stands. But that also stacks. If you get a second one, you get another discharge rate above that. So
Yeah.
if you that's another reason why you might look at a second battery, is actually if you want to be able to meet more on-site demand instantaneously, then having a second battery gives you that extra push up to the limit of the inverter.
Yeah, it's similar with the Tesla as well. With the expansion packs, that discharge goes up to 8 kilowatts.
Yeah.
So that's with, I believe, 2 or 3 expansion packs. So you're looking at massive amounts of storage there.
And so
40 kilowatt hours.
I mean, what's the maximum compatibility? I think with the Tesla Powerwalls, you can do 4 in a stack, and then I think they're also looking at 4. So you could have 4 lead units with expansion packs, and then 4 Powerwalls. So total of 16 batteries. Again, you're looking like running a football stadium and things rather than a house. But Tesla do cross that threshold into wanting larger installs.
But again, it depends where you are. If most homeowners not most, but a lot of people come into this and go, I'm having solar panels, I must go off grid. And it's kind of we try and almost coax people down away from the precipice of spending ridiculous sums of money. Like, they're welcome to if they want. However, it's not always necessary. So there is a point at which there's a diminishing return. Things that can be added again, as long as they still make it. But we have had some customers who are pretty much off grid, but they've spent significant sums of money. You don't necessarily need that. And
how often do you have a power cut?
Yeah.
Like, how often?
But I mean,
10 years?
Leading into that, you don't need to buy. Both of them have gateway options. So Sigenergy and they're literally just called the gateway, aren't they?
The gateway,
So I think Tesla are on their second iteration. I think Sig are on the first. But that gives you the functionality of going off grid, which isn't necessarily built into the system. So a lot of conversations I have with customers, it's actually what you're buying isn't off. If the power goes down, your system's going down.
It's a big misconception.
Because of the UK grid, we earth through the grid, so you need to add a new earthing point. You then need to.
It takes longer to install.
You then need to decide what loads on your house you deem essential, which to be run off the battery, because again, you don't want to be running your EV charge point if the grid's gone down. So you don't want to be draining your battery. Again, how long are you thinking the power is going to go out for? Is it an hour? Are we talking a day, a week? In which case,
where the install is as well. The majority of our work is Greater Manchester. It's a strong grid network. Very rarely have power cuts.
I guess the key point is though that it's going to cost 4 figures more to get that functionality, which everyone just assumes is inbuilt. And when you read all the marketing, it's all done as off-grid ready. That's not a lie. It is ready, but there's a lot of electrician time. There's a lot of kit above and beyond that to get to that point. In reality, you don't need this. You can save a lot of money on your install. Tesla use an energy. What's called energy sensor. I think it's relatively new, G99 approved now, and Sigenergy, they don't use the same controller, it's built in, but the same functionality is available. So again, if they're looking to save some money and they assume you're getting off-grid functionality, that's an awkward conversation we have sometimes, but necessary.
I had that conversation a lot last year. I believe it was Portugal, Spain, and some areas of France last year. There was like a good week, I think, in some areas with no power.
About a week,
there was a good few days.
Or something.
My mate lives there. Different, but they had big power cuts. It was on the news and everything, and we had a big influx of people inquiring about the off grid. Like, I need everything changed to be off grid. I was like, well, I understand, but there's not a zombie apocalypse coming.
And even if you did, imagine if you're the only house with your lights on the street, they're coming to you.
If the zombies are coming, you've had it, lights or not. So. That was
where would you go in a zombie apocalypse?
To Billy's, he's got a Tesla apparently.
I've got a gateway.
Fair enough.
And I guess it was a big talking point from there.
You could also say you can add this functionality to it. You don't necessarily need to get it straight up. Obviously, it's more efficient to do it all as one. But
but the pros and cons of that are, while we are there, it will be cheaper to put it in now. Flip to if it you're going to really be peed off if you have this fitted, and then the day after we walk away, the lights go out, and Jesus, what would you pay for that? So it depends how essential things are. We've all got phones with batteries. That laptop's on a battery; it's not plugged in, I don't think. But we all have power banks, UPSs, and stuff like that. So you can do that in terms of if you do want off grid, and it depends on what you want off grid. It kind of is a bit of a luxury, we feel, but it's a quality piece of kit, and to know it's there. Because the grid infrastructure, we are told, is only going to get worse and more tested as we're bringing in more renewables. And
I mean, this links to some of the functionality on both of the products as well, because both Sig and Tesla have they call it, the name changes, but it's basically like storm warning functionality. So if you're plugged in and you allow these sort of features, they'll look at the network in the area, and they look at the weather forecast, and if they anticipate severe weather, they'll then charge your battery up beforehand and prep you. Again, useless if you don't have the off-grid functionality built in, because you'll have a full battery and nothing to supply because your house has gone down.
Peace of mind though, isn't it?
Yeah,
you say
exactly. And so they all, I mean, both of them have AI functionalities. I'm not sure whether it is actually AI, but I'm almost certain it's not. But what they have is they look at your usage habits, your charging patterns, discharge patterns, any predictable behavior in the house, and they then can control it. Again, all these are functionality you can turn on and off. If you want it simply to just download the solar, charge up your battery with the surplus, and then export. That's kind of the base model. You can go above and beyond with both apps, but again, how much do you want to do this yourself? How much do you want to perhaps you've got a third party like Home Assist, or there's a few different softwares out there that kind of help balance the loads across all your smart devices in your house. I know a lot of my family are a bit technophobe when it comes to smart devices, and actually they don't really want these things making decisions for them.
It makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, where do you land on that?
Well, I'd say the majority of the customers that I speak to, they want that off-grid functionality because they're putting so much money into the system in general. Like they're paying for all those panels, the big battery system inverters, the labour, the scaffolding. They'd be annoyed at themselves. That's what I get. That if the grid went out, even for just 10 minutes, and everything shut down, they do just want that.
Yeah.
And as you said before, whilst we're on site and we're working on the property, it's cheaper to do it at the point of the install.
Like double the cost to come back. If we come 4 weeks later.
Of course, yeah. We have to return back out again. It's going to be more.
Yeah, people don't understand. It's expensive to have a tradesman on your site to get them there.
Costs.
The years it takes to train them, then you've got somebody assisting them because they typically work in at least groups of two. The overheads of doing that. The fact they've got to get the tools out of the van, which is nicely packed away, to the place where we're installing it. If you're lucky, it might be we back the van right up to the garage where it's fitted, like in your house, but that's not always the case.
Was it the gateway's earth rods involved?
You don't know what's in the earth.
Yeah, there's a lot of planning.
Hope you don't go through a pipe.
Definitely not. But yeah, that's what I'd say. I think that's a big decision. The amount of money they're spending. Do I just add that little bit on and get the off-grid? But you don't need it. Like, I had a customer sat in here with me yesterday, and they were saying, never had a power cut in 20 years. So it's like, do I need to spend that extra? Yeah. Probably not. They live in Greater Manchester. I think they were in Salford. Never had a power cut. It's a good grid infrastructure, strong.
But that could change.
Well, it could change. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We in 10 years, 5 years, we don't know.
Well, we're on sort of off grid. The gateway is a good thing to talk about because there's different functionality from Tesla to Sig, which is the whole purpose of this chat. We would compare one against the other. Both do gateways. The gateway is a bit smaller. It doesn't come with the breakers, so as an installer you've got to go and buy them. We don't really mind that. We've stocked loads of different bits of stock. But the big differentiator for me is the gateway. For the Sig, you can add in a generator. You can't do that with the Tesla. Oh, cool. So if you are in an area that has regular off-grid situations and you're in the middle of winter, no matter how, if the grid goes down in the middle of winter, a radiance is a lot lower, you're not going to be charging that battery, so you will, even with a gateway, be off-grid, and you won't be connected to any electricity supply if there's not enough solar to charge the battery. So if you've got a generator on site, depending on the generator type, you can plug that in to the Sig gateway, and then you can really be fully off-grid.
Does that provide two-way control then by ramping up the generator up and down to match demand that the solar isn't matching? Or,
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, depending on the generator, and I'm not a generator specialist, but you can basically plug that generator in, and then if there's not enough energy in the battery or the solar, the generator will kick in and provide the load that's needed up to the maximum capacity of that generator.
I know Give Energy's done a similar thing with their latest gateway thing, so I imagine it's just a matter of time till Tesla provides a similar thing. But
matching each other, aren't they? Well, the Give Energy only one that's like, I saw that's like a Tesla.
It does look like they've literally opened a factory across the road.
Yeah, next to it. They're so similar. It's not got that modular element like Sig, but all have gateways. Gateway 2, I believe, we give now.
Right.
2?
Yeah, it's Gateway 2 now.
Then,
I mean, what we can offer in this chat a bit more is kind of the installer's perspective of both these systems. We touched on it briefly about the different practicalities of it, but from our point of view, Tesla is one big combined unit. There is no taking the batteries out to make it easier to move.
No.
You do need, it is a minimum 2-man lift to get it in. So you putting this in the basement, we're not going to be thankful for you. But you know it is possible. We have to overman it to lift it and move it safely. Yes, they try and sell us a Tesla approved dolly. I think it was
very expensive.
Yeah, again 4 figures. And in reality, that's an extra expense for us as installers. We it makes that difficult, which you don't have with the Sig, because they provide the handles and everything with each battery, I believe.
Inverter,
and the inverter, right? Yeah.
So it comes with the inverter, because obviously you'll stack with the.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, from an install practicality, the modular battery is always better. I know we don't like doing it. We don't like installing in lofts, but you never get a Powerwall in any kind of converted loft area or anything like that. And
you've got the Hulk installed.
yeah.
But it's getting it in's one thing, but we've been going for 15 years now, and we plan to go on for another at least 15 years. Like, we're here for the long term. So if something goes wrong, we're there to honour the warranty that we offer in terms of workmanship. But then, if the manufacturer's still in place as well, and they provide another part, then you got to hope, one, the installer's still around. So we're talking broadly in the installer market, if you as a customer, who you're going to choose. And if, let's say, they are around or they're not around, if that inverter and battery, the Tesla, let's say, is in a really hard to reach place, someone's got to go and get it out. So in the instance where your installer's no longer trading, you've got to pay another installer to come in and get it. I guarantee you they're either going to say they don't want to do it, or they're going to charge a lot of money to get it out of that basement or loft or difficult to reach place. So, thinking along those lines, this is why a lot of people start to put them outside. Then the trade-off is they will work to much lower temperatures, but the BMS in the battery is not going to let out as much energy. Garages are quite cold places as well.
And Powerwall 3 has self-heating cells in it. Don't actually know that fact for Sigenergy.
Sig's got, my understanding, is like a heated pad. I think of it like a lizard enclosure.
Right, okay.
Sort of heated pad.
Yeah, and passively, as you're using the batteries, that does generate some warmth in it. So, it is cold, try and use electricity or whatever. Again, not a problem if you've got an air source heat pump or things like that, but
it's a massive part of the planning process as well, isn't it? Like the technical survey, when we look at photographs, where's that kit going to go? For ease of install and ease of the customer monitoring it, and then, as you say, accessing it in the future if there's a problem. We spend more time planning, don't we, than even installing, thinking of all these different things.
I spent a lot more time looking at fire and smoke alarms than I thought I would when I started this, but hey. In terms of warranty, both of them are 10 years basic. I believe you can expand them. If you go through them, you don't need to go through us.
Yeah, you can go through if you're with the manufacturer, you go through us, or you can go directly to them, but you can go to 15, I believe. And
we did have to replace one Tesla that was sort of broken on install, but that was they were relatively, because you deal with the faults at the company, don't you?
Yeah, they were quite quick. Tesla, they were quite quick. At Sigenergy, I've not even had to speak to them. We've had no faults. And we've installed 8, 9 now, 10.
I'd say more than that.
Do you reckon 15 maybe? We've installed. There was a massive. They came onto the market early last year, so Tesla's been around.
I'd say about
we've
14, 15 were fitted.
Never had to speak to the tech support.
But we've installed a lot more Tesla. And they were really good, like that one just before Christmas last year.
Fault,
and they sent out.
They sent it straight out. They sent it straight here. Actually, I think from the fault being reported to it being the replacement in here, it was about just over a week, 10 days. Which is not bad.
Just before Christmas, we thought.
Just before Christmas, I thought
if we don't get this, it's going to be a month.
Yeah, which is not ideal, but it was still quick. So,
I mean, that's again in the side that we don't often get to have to talk about too much. So
I tell you what does annoy me though about Tesla, and it's not Tesla's fault necessarily, it's their supplier network who collect the clamshells that they come in. So they come in these like big heavy duty plastic shells, and we literally had a whole stack of them in the warehouse that was just taking up valuable space. And we'd call up our suppliers, can you come and get them? Yeah, we'll come on Monday. They never did, because they mustn't be incentivised enough to get them. They don't want them to just take. They're probably sat in their warehouse, and then they'll be shipped off to Sweden and incinerated. So,
they claim they're reused.
They're annoying.
What other sort of spec?
What's the tariff as well? Tariff compatibility. Well, that's a massive thing. They're both similar, aren't they? Which is important.
Open APIs, and you can Octopus approved and things like that. There's not much to separate them on that front, to be honest.
You can fill them both, mainly in the winter, isn't it? That's a benefit.
Fundamentally, they're both the same technology, aren't they? They're both lithium iron phosphate.
Very similar.
So you do get some that are NMC or the manufacturers. There's a lot of different things that we could talk about between the two. So one of the ones I had here was, I was touching upon it earlier about the additional kit that you can add in. So the cool thing with the Tigos is, and the Tigo optimizer system that you can do with Sig that you can't with Tesla, because I'm assuming you can, but it would invalidate the warranty if there's an issue, because it's just third-party power electronics, and typically when manufacturers can get out of replacing, they will. But with the other stuff that you can do, which is borderline gimmicky, I always think, is adding in like Shelly devices. So plug things in a plug socket that can put the excess energy into that load, so you can put a heater on. When it's hot, it's not great, but like a fan would be another use case for it. But people like that, again, I feel like it's a bit gimmicky. If you're not going to store it, then I don't think it's quite as relevant, but some people might value that. So that's a really cool feature, and I think you can add that into the ecosystem so you can monitor it as well for Sig. So another win for Sig.
Yeah, that's massive, especially if you've got like flues, chimneys, tall buildings nearby, trees is the main thing as well. Big part of the planning again.
To have it under the hood of
shading
the
analysis. It's important. Because if they're in, you've got Tesla, you've got 3 inputs, but they're in series, aren't they? So if one panel shaded, those 3 or 4 panels in that string all go down. It depends on every customer's different, every property, every roof's
I wonder if
different,
that's the difference between the UK market and the American market. You see them with large, massive, sweeping expanses of roofs where it's not too much of an issue. Whereas
I think that's what the Americans market to us. They all live in these big houses.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so the realities in the UK are quite different.
Yeah, oak tree looming over the roof.
The other thing though is that, to me, my gut is, who are Sig? They've only just turned up on the UK market. I know Tesla were relatively unknown in the solar battery sphere until probably 10 years ago, but comparative as amount of time in the UK, it's a long time. So that is one thing. As a customer, they're trying to make a decision, they've got the decision making matrix, and they're applying this good thing against that good thing and that bad thing against that slightly not as bad thing. It's tough because it's a lot of money, and it can vary between, on Tesla, when that's between sort of £6,500 to £8,500, let's just say, you're spending similar money on Sig. To me, it's a big pull having a brand that you hear all the time, some good, some bad reasons, which again, our customers try not to steer this towards a political conversation, but a lot of people will say they don't want Tesla for a reason X or Y. There is a reason for that, but there's always, if you dig hard enough, you can find a reason for not using a manufacturer.
Every manufacturer, everything. If you dig hard enough.
I mean, on the Sig one, they were established in the worldwide market before they came to the UK. So they were established in Australia, America, and Asia as well. So it's just them coming to us. They were fully, and you can tell from the product as well. Like, this isn't the first rodeo. When you look at the app, when you look at the kit they go to, they haven't just pulled this out of their posteriors. But this is a fully formed kit. So you can kind of tell from the build quality when you look at it. But yeah, you're right. The fact they haven't been present in the market, there will be individual challenges in the UK that aren't met by elsewhere, and we have a different grid structure from there and things like that. So
I spoke about this a lot, probably 12 months ago with customers. I'd say the start of 2025, when Tesla had been on the market a good couple of months, and they were already established because the previous Powerwall version, but Sigenergy were brand new, and they were comparing straight away as soon as they came onto the market, and it was a conversation of, we've obviously not fitted it yet, it's just going to the UK market. I don't want our customers to be a guinea pig.
There is that.
I didn't want. This was 12 months ago, by the way. This isn't now. But 12 months ago, I was a bit like, let's just get some real world data on the UK grid first and see. I was expecting it to be great, and it is great. And we know that now. Like 12 months of proper real world data.
Yeah, that was a bit our worry.
So that was the only concern I had. I'd say 12 months ago. I didn't want that. Like, if you're comparing Tesla at the time, was better.
I think what they did as a bit of a blinder with Sig, nobody knew about them. There was a bit of a gap. Tesla had a bit of a negative storm. Other manufacturers seem to have lost a bit of market share in our sphere in this country, and Sig partnered with a few industry celebs, shall we say? And they are, that's what it looks like from inside the industry. But they've played a bit of a blinder there, and other people have followed where they've perhaps led. Now they are firmly in the minds of our customers, and I think we heard 6 customer names mentioned that we're planning in this morning by Darryl, our ops manager.
Put the grid in for
and
everyone.
it was just Sig, Sig, Sig,
Yeah,
Sig,
everyone's getting-
Sig 9, Sig 18 kilowatt hour
Yeah,
battery.
maybe we've made it too cheap. We'll have to
Yeah.
up the prices or something. I don't know.
Is that much?
But yeah, I mean, just to defend the others, Give are coming back with new tech. We were at Solar
Storage.
Live, Solar Storage Live the other
Birmingham,
back in Birmingham last year, and they're showcasing the new kit, which is due to come out this year. It's smaller, it's more compact, they've got more functionality. Again, if everything that they said is true, if it makes
It's
it
the hybrid, sorry.
the hybrids, the all-in-one twos,
Yeah.
they've got another sort of halfway house with like
Yeah.
a stackable. Well, it looks more like a cattle battery, like the Libby versions,
Yeah.
but not quite as big.
We've just recently fitted our first all-in-one. Give Energy all-in-one too.
Yeah.
haven't we? On the gateway.
Well,
Yeah.
still fitting.
Still fitting it, yeah, still commissioned.
Yeah. We have a phrase in the company, which is we're in the hands of the Give Energy gods. Great kit. I've personally
Yeah.
got it. I know we're supposed to be talking about Tesla and Sig here, but I do really think it's good kit. They've got a base down in Staffordshire.
Yeah.
But
British company.
the Give Energy all-in-one 2, our experience so far, the kit looks great, but we are having commissioning issues.
Very slow.
So yeah,
Struggled to they've moved the stuff to the WhatsApp as well. Like, so I believe Connor was saying that you have to go through a certain portal now with Give Energy, the all-in-one 2, rather than the hybrid. It's a different.
Yeah.
Obviously the hybrids are much quicker.
yeah.
Yeah, and obviously if you don't want that off grid, you can do that. But
Mm.
yeah, that's brand new again. I think that was at Solar Storage, wasn't it? The
Yeah,
two,
yeah.
and then I think at the end of the year, like Christmas time, they were in suppliers. So it's our first one.
Mm.
Stuff to give a
Yeah.
more everyone's fit.
And this is a Sig Tesla video, so
True.
you know we can
Yeah, sure.
we can wail on them in another video. Yeah.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. But they're both brilliant products, aren't they? Yeah.
I think we've covered everything.
So what made you choose Sigenergy over Tesla?
So yeah, for me, aesthetic was fairly key. It looked, first of all, money. I didn't want. I like as I said, mine was lumped in with a re-roof as well. So my battery money was allocated elsewhere, and that's where the modularity basically won it for Sig.
Yeah. In the future.
Exactly. But I also like the way the kit looks. I think I prefer the app. To be
Yeah.
honest, just
yeah.
the aesthetic
app's
and the
better, yeah,
functionality.
It's the best
There's
app
not
I've ever seen.
there's not much in it in terms of functionality to defend them, but to defend Tesla. But the aesthetic just looks a little better to me. Small things like that, which you make a customer decision based on. The kit quality, fine. You know, I got approved for a 10 kilowatt on my house. I was like, yeah, I'll take that. I can fill my roofs over the next 10 years with progressive installs. Not having the lump sum up front really that was what made me go Sig. Really, is because I can do the modular install. Because we're doing it, it works a little bit better. I can kind of control a bit better when I want to do the next upgrade and things like that.
Yeah.
If I wanted to go Tesla, I'd have been much more financially sort of strung out to make that happen. And especially considering I like to think I'm a young professional, but I'm probably not anymore. But not having actually the funds of doing this early doors, because we're in the house for 10 years, 15 years maybe. The plan is
It'll pay
to
itself.
do this as like a phased project rather than kind of get it done and forget about it. So that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm hopefully if I move at the end of this year, I've always had Tesla Powerwall 3 in my mind,
Yeah.
but I'm swinging towards
I can see
Sig
why.
Energy.
It's a lovely bit of kit. It looks
Yeah.
lovely, and if I had the money there to decide on, it probably would have been a more difficult decision. But for me, the modularity is what sold it. I like the look of a Tesla 3 a lot.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
why.
it looks the nicest.
Yeah, that's why I think it's just
Really
a
do.
beast. Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah.
You can't do what you've done though, which is
Yeah.
just get the inverter, monitor it for a bit.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
add in,
With the
you
inverter
can't do it.
monitoring though, like Jack can log in, any customer who's got Sig can log in and
Yep.
see each string that is attached to
Yeah,
the inverter system.
For
Whereas with
performance.
Tesla, you don't get that level of monitoring, which I just think's
I'm
baffling.
surprised by that.
Yeah, I
thought
am.
they would really have that. Yeah.
It's good for those who don't want to know and almost like going down the rabbit hole of monitoring things can be scared off by it. But I think
Yeah,
it's
some customers just don't want to look. They just want to have it plugged
Yeah.
in and it works.
and
which is fair enough
the
as
portal we get with Sig, with like all our other manufacturers we install a portal to log in on our phones that we can see very quickly all of the systems we've installed. We can do that with Sig. We can't do that with Tesla. Yeah, you could download a link onto your phone. However, you do need to get the laptop out to log into our Tesla installer portal. So yeah, a little bit annoying that feature. So yeah, Sig, you can see a hell of a lot more data than you can with Tesla.
Yeah.
What I'd say though is how much is this is like a software problem. Like you can envisage Tesla just app 2.0, which now breaks down it. You know, clearly it has the because you can monitor it overall. So clearly it's just doing a sum of string 1, 2, 3.
Well, there's third-party applications that we've already helped customers get.
Yeah.
It's where you can see it. Just seems ridiculous to have to do that.
Yeah.
So you know, yeah. How much of it is they'll just release an update and give the functionality that the competitors are offering anyway. But you're right, I suspect it's more like the iPhone thing of people who don't really know or care and don't want to. They just want a simple figure, open up their app, look at the top, is it working? Yes, no, fine.
Leave it, yeah.
I think that would push you towards Tesla, whereas I like seeing graphs with different colours and lines going up and down and like the generation split across how it's, you know, the way I would recommend looking at the visuals of the SIG. They present the same information and not assuming you care less or don't understand would be my perception of it so far.
You could have got the Tesla rebate scheme.
Could have.
Oh, 750 quid.
So if you, there's you can get 2.
Sorry?
It's 375.
300
On the advert, it's 750 quid off.
Which
but
is
then
better.
if you actually which is great, but if you read it, that's if you get a Tesla Powerwall free and an expansion.
Right.
So it's 375
I read you read the advert and you go 750 quid off.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, but then it's if you get 2.
Right, okay.
So it's 375 quid rebated as well, so it's not through the
Which
installer.
on that level of spending.
After 10 weeks of it being installed as well. So there's catches.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's 750, it's 375 quid cash. That's what that way it looks.
Right,
but that is good. Like,
I can tell you've had to explain this to your customers.
Yeah,
So.
I have to say it, yeah. But it's just good. Obviously, it's an incentive.
It's something rather than nothing, but there's claiming that, isn't there?
A bit of paperwork, but it's easy.
Last bit, I think we're coming to some sort of close now on the Tesla versus Sig conversation. Would be the Tesla inverter can work as a 3.6, it can work as a 5, it can work as a all the way up to 11, and the grid will allow you to change that, whether or not that has value to the end customer. But as the grid perhaps changes, the grid might mandate you're only allowed 3.6. Yes, you can do it with Sig. You maybe fit the biggest Sig inverter possible would be one way around it. So it just seems that Tesla has a bigger scope of AC.
A bit of a range.
So for context, the G99s are application processes you do when you're doing an install above 3.6 kilowatts, and the grid basically look at your house on the infrastructure in your area, and they make an assessment of actually how much kilowatts could these people pump out, and without frying the grid. Yeah, exactly. Without turning everything off. They factor in things like everyone else's solar on the street and distance from transformers and that. But basically, what you care about is the inverter size that they specify. The Teslas, you can scale it from 3.6 up to 11. They have various approvals in between there, so that kind of works. And you're not buying a different Tesla when you're doing that. You're buying the same one. It's in the setup.
Yeah.
Whereas with the Sig, to your point, is you either buy a 3.6 or you buy a 5 or you buy a 6 or an 8 or a 10 or a 12. And so for things like I've never seen this happen, but I get asked this question a lot: is if the grid upgrade, can I upgrade my inverter? Perfectly reasonable question. Actually, not the same, because they'll never notify you they've done it. They're never going to rechase all the G99s on the grid. And so in the Tesla, it would be much easier to accommodate that, because you just go in, change a setting to align with the new application. Whereas with the Sig, you have to take that unit off, put a new one on. So
big cost involved.
Yeah, exactly. So that's
get rid of an inverter that's working on the warranty for 10 years.
Exactly.
Well, on my Give system, I paid £1,000 for the grid for me to fit a 5 kilowatt inverter, which had export limitation functionality on it. That was a lot of money for a single phase property. I'm pretty sure I was one of the first, I was the first on the street certainly to get solar. And then 2-3 years later, both my friends, one on my street, I'd been granted inverters of similar size. So my friend on my street, we fitted a 5 kilowatt Give energy inverter, and he sailed through the grid, didn't have any cost.
No limits,
so it's almost like I paid for his the privilege of that.
Unfortunately, and so if there's
not
if
sorry
there's
about that at all.
No.
I don't think at his house.
He didn't cry about it every day. No, like when it comes to that, if there's grid works to upgrade and it's on the sort of the grid side, larger works, if it's like about their infrastructure, does tend to be free. We looked at a couple of jobs. I was about to say the customer's name, GDPR, but there's that big Tesla job, and where they're having basically the whole street dug up to supply new, and that's not additional to our. But I think you unfortunately landed in a weird Venn diagram of problems and ended up having to supply.
So often the hero that.
You're the early adopter that made all of our lives easier. Yeah. But it feels like we've drawn to a close. You want to add anything else, Bill? I'm good for me. Hopefully this conversation's been useful to you guys. Again, if you have any other thoughts, comment below. I don't know.
Subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe. We'll be looking to do a few more of these, looking at different manufacturers as we've alluded to. Well. So again, if you have any suggestions or stuff you want to look at, want us to look at, or questions about install practicalities, let us know. We can get back to you.
I don't know if you can like or subscribe.
If it's
you can.
I think so.
YouTube. Right.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Yeah.